Miss Culture Global is a platform that promotes diversity and inclusion in Africa. So I believe that this platform is a very great platform. Namibia is quite interesting. We have a beautiful tourist attraction.
When did you start modeling and what were your dream when you joined modeling?
Okay, so I started modeling in grade 8 in 2013. Joined the pageant that time because I just wanted to build my self-confidence.
Greetings everyone, welcome again to the Made in African show that brings you true and original stories of Africans.
Because pageantry is a very serious platform. It's not all about beauty, but it's all about what you're bringing to the society, what you're bringing to your community. Began to enforce education about sexual education in high schools and primary schools.
In today's episode, with Miss Gracia Paulina Kibangu representing Namibia in the Miss Culture Global 2024.
I won as a first runner-up for the Miss Greenie, and from there I saw people started respecting me, especially those that were against it, laughing at me, saying that no, if you lose.
Currently, Gracia works as a real estate agent with her 11 years experience in modeling and beauty pageant contestant. Gracia believes that carrying her country's flag to the final in South Africa means a lot for Namibian women.
Then represent Namibia as a whole, and I'm so blessed and humble to actually carry the Namibian flag and represent a whole nation.
Made in Africa show is sponsored by Fashion Trends Africa, a fashion news website under www.rcfs.rw, where you can find news of new and established African fashion designers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again in the Made in Africa podcast. We are happy to have everyone, listeners, and wherever you are. Today we have a very special guest, and I would like to give her a floor. She introduces herself, what she does, and then we go through to know her more. So Gracia, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be on this podcast.
Yeah, so can you introduce yourself so our listeners, they know who is Gracia, please?
Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be part of this podcast. My name is Gracia Paulina Kibangu. I'm a real estate agent and a model. I was born in South Africa, grew up in Namibia. So I'm currently representing Miss Culture Global Namibia.
Okay. Tell us, how is life in Namibia? Before we talk about yourself, we'll go through you being a part of Miss Culture Global and how are you excited about it. And some people are talking about, I've seen in the media to Namibia, they want you to win. So yeah, how is Namibia in general? Tell us, people who don't know Namibia.
Namibia is a very, very small country. Our population is 2.5 million. Very beautiful, filled with amazing people, with so much love. One thing I love about Namibia is that they have your support, full force. So Namibia is quite interesting. We have a beautiful tourist attraction. There's so much happening in Namibia. It's a very quiet place also compared to South Africa, let me say. Yeah, so Namibia is more reserved if you want to go for leisure and just relax and do all your tourist vibe. That's Namibia. That's the place to be.
Okay, that's exciting. How many languages do they speak in Namibia?
So we have 13 different languages.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us, who is Gracia? Where were you born? In Namibia or?
Okay, so Gracia is a firstborn from both her parents, born in South Africa in Johannesburg, Edenvale, and grew up in Namibia. I've studied all my life in Namibia. I started my preschool. My first year of preschool, I did it in Johannesburg, and then my parents relocated to Namibia for business because they were entrepreneurs. So I grew up in Namibia and I did all my education in Namibia. And now I'm back home to further my studies again and just to invest and all of that.
Okay, so what do you mean you back home? You are saying South Africa is... Oh, South Africa is... So you have two homes?
I have two homes, yes.
Okay, so which one is your favorite?
That's a very difficult question. Okay, so my favorite, of course, is Namibia because I've lived there all my life, and I think I've just engaged more into the community, and I've been more included and accepted in the community. So I believe my favorite is Namibia, of course. But in terms of like, let's say, business-wise, opportunities, South Africa is also good.
Okay, that's very exciting. So let's now talk about you in modeling. When did you start modeling, and what were your dream when you joined modeling?
Okay, so I started modeling in grade 8 in 2013. That was my first pageant. It was called Miss Greenie, which meant like the newcomers in high school, because we just came out from grade 7, so we joined grade 8, and we had a first pageant. That was my first pageant, and for me, I just joined the pageant that time because I just wanted to build my self-confidence. I came out of in pre-primary, or in primary, let's say, I was like a victim of bully, and they called me ugly. They laughed at my bag, my clothes, and all of that. So when I came to high school, I didn't really care about what people would say. So I joined the pageant, and a lot of people were telling me, no, you won't win. Don't join the pageant. If you lose, they're going to laugh at you. Don't do it. And I just said, I'm going to go ahead. And I told everyone at home, but no one was really, they didn't know what pageantry was, what I was going to do. So they were not really interested in it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it on my own. No one came to support me. I started my first pageant on my own, and I won as a first runner-up for the Miss Greenie. And from there, I saw like people like started respecting me, especially those that were like against it, laughing at me, saying that no, if you lose, you won't, they will laugh at you, you become the mocking stock of the school and stuff. So since then, it was an amazing journey. I continued in pageantry in 2014 and just kept on growing every year, making my way up. With pageantry, it started also, I did Miss Concordia like 2 times, and I won the 3rd time because I was second runner-up the first year, first runner-up the second year, and then I became the Miss on the 3rd year. And then I did Miss Valentine, I won first runner-up and went to competition for the high school when I won Miss Concordia, which was the high school pageant. And we had to, all the queens for different high school had to just like compete against each other. So to choose the one Miss High School. And I made it part of the top 9, which was a very interesting pageant also. I made it part of the top 9 and I kept on going, making my way up. After high school, I entered for Miss Mirror Africa and I won the Miss Mirror Africa. And I did my national pageant, which was Miss Face of Namibia, and I came out 3rd runner-up, which was in 2020 or 21. So it's been, let's say, 11 years since I've been in the industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is... Wow. So it's been 11 years being in modeling. So how do you see modeling in Africa? If you look at it, South Africa, modeling is way advanced. So if you look at modeling in general in Africa, how is it? Is it promising the future, modeling of Africa?
Modeling in Africa, it is promising in the future. I can see that there's a lot of diversity and a lot of inclusion happening also. Like now we are getting more exposure also to, like a lot of models are getting a lot of exposure and connections. There are so much connections in Africa. So I believe that it's getting better.
Okay. Back to your journey in a contestant. It's clear that you have experience. When you look at the contestant in South Africa and in Namibia and the countries around, how do you see it? Beauty pageants.
Okay.
Generally in Namibia, you have a 7 years experience, and South Africa. So how is it? Like if you look at the beauty pageants in general in Africa, especially where you are, is it promising impact to the participants in the future?
Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you for the question. That's a very good question. Within Namibia, let me start from Namibia. I just feel like right now in Namibia, we need a lot of support when it comes to sponsorships, because we all want to execute our purpose and we want to make a difference. We want to bring an impact, because the pageantry is all about leadership for young women to take up space in the society. So I believe that sometimes we can't do this pageants because of like financial situations at the moment. Sometimes it's the flight tickets that are expensive and the wardrobes that needs to be bought and put in place. So I believe that if we can begin to like spread more awareness on the seriousness of pageantry, because pageantry is a very serious platform. It's not all about beauty, but it's all about what you're bringing to the society, what you're bringing to your community. So I believe that we as Africans, we need to like begin to take it serious and support young women in this industry.
I really love that sentence of what you bring to the community, what you bring to the country. I think that's a very, very important input. So, and you mentioned about the sponsorship, and then the question is, I've asked some other participants in different beauty pageants on the African continent. Some of they also think some governments, they still don't understand. How is Namibian government? Does Namibia government understand beauty pageants, even how to support? So how is it?
Namibian government do understand. Now I can see they actually understand beauty pageants. For a while they didn't. It was really a struggle even with our own national pageant like the Miss Namibia. It has been going well, but we just needed to see more, because there's a difference if you look at it in South Africa and if you look at it in Namibia, how things are done and how we send out our girls for the Miss Universe, because we need them to be more prepared and in all aspects. So I think Namibian government is now becoming aware of it. It's just that now we just need to enforce it more.
Okay. So I know there are listeners, viewers who are listening right now from Namibia. What can you tell them? I know that there's a cultural barrier that's still breaking Africans when it comes to beauty and the pageants. You shouldn't wear this, you can wear no this. So what can you tell Namibians in general, those who don't understand the beauty and what the impact brings to the government when it comes to represent a country, for example, tourism perspective? What do you think people should know from Namibia? People in general should support our queens when they especially go to international beauty pageant.
I believe that beauty pageant is more like politics, let me say, in a female version. Because there's a lot of politics sometimes that happens inside because of what we want to bring into the society. So beauty pageant is all about making an impact. It's a platform for young women to be in the space of leadership. So this is an opportunity for young women to make an impact to the society, in our communities, in the world, as a large. So beauty pageant is a very important platform, and I believe that in the near future it's going to be taken serious. I feel like right now it's also there's a lot of attention now in the beauty pageants since the outbreak of Chidima Vanessa's story. So I believe a lot of attention now has been brought to beauty pageants. A lot of people have began to like look at it and see what it is about and found interest in it. So I hope and believe that it will be the same and it will get much better.
Okay, that's very exciting. And now let's talk about the Miss Global. There you are. How do you feel now being part of Miss Global top finalists? How do you feel? How is your heart? Like, tell us how you feel right now.
I'm so excited for the Miss Global pageant. I can't wait. This is my final weekend in Cape Town, and I'll be leaving on Monday to Johannesburg. So the Miss Global preparation is going well so far, and I'm excited to meet the rest of the queens all over the world. And this is my first international pageant where I really have to go out there and represent Namibia as a whole. And I'm so blessed and humbled to actually carry the Namibian flag and to be there and represent a whole nation,
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yes.
So let's look at on that day. Like, how do you look on that day? Do you feel nervous? Like, when you look at yourself among the top, let's look at on the day it's happening. The judges, they are there. Like, you look at yourself on that day. How do you feel in your heart when you are there?
Well, I feel excited. All my pageants, I'm always nervous. So it's quite like something in me that I don't think will leave. But yeah, I'm always nervous, yes, because saying it's a big deal, there's always interviews, and you're always thinking, did you do your best? You're trying to do your best. You're trying to also make yourself proud and make other people proud, those that are behind you, supporting you. So you get quite nervous. But on the big day, I see myself part of the top 5. I see myself winning, definitely, because they say, so a man thinketh, that's what happens, So I put it out there, and yeah, I believe it's going to go well.
Okay, so let's look at other participants. There are participants from different countries and who also have experience. So when you look at others, how do you see other participants? Like, I don't want you to point the fingers to say, this one can win, this one I can win. But if you look at, if you look at them, like their profile, their performance on social media, and how do you see them, like in general?
Okay, they're doing quite well. They're doing quite well. I love how they are really taking this pageant very serious, and I can see also in the group they're interacting, and we haven't even met each other yet, but everyone is just like, we already like trying to connect, and which is a beautiful thing. That's what pageantry is about. We also have to connect as much as it's a competition, but we also have to like connect as sisters and take each other's hands and go through the pageant. So I see the girls are fantastic. They're doing great. And I'm wishing them all the best also as well, because I know it's not easy to represent a whole country.
Let's look at the pageants now, like at the Miss Global Culture. Let's say you win it. So what do you think you will do if you win it in terms of supporting women in Africa and also be a voice of women on globally?
Wow, that's a very good question. I'll use this platform to actually advocate on women empowerment and education, how important it is to be educated, how important it is to voice up as a woman and to take up space in leadership. Because sometimes women, we have been put in a box and just to be told that we're supposed to do certain things and we can't do a specific thing. But now I want women to stand up for themselves. I want women to be who they want to be, who they are meant to be. Women are such powerful human beings, and I believe that they need to execute that power into the society.
That's very exciting. Like, if you look at, let's start from Namibia, there are challenges women are facing now, like including some countries that talk to people, they talk about unplanned pregnancy, women who leave schools, there is abuse. So what challenges do you think women are facing in Namibia and in South Africa, in your region, that you think if you win, these are the challenges I will start to resolve with the government, with the community?
So the most challenges women are facing in Namibia is we also have the high pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, and I believe that we've began to enforce education about sexual education in high schools and primary schools to educate the women mostly. And also we have another issue which is really a concern to me is the passion killing, where a lot of women are dying lately because of abuse in relationships and stuff like that. So those are the things that I really want to look into and speak to women about it. If they're not comfortable or if they can't be in a certain relationship, some women can't voice out, they can't speak about it. So they just stay in abusive relationships and die in there. So I would really want to enforce that women should be able to speak out and leave when they have to leave,
Okay, that is very exciting. You mentioned something about helping younger women to understand about sexual parts and education. So what is your input? There are some African countries where people, they still struggle. We shouldn't allow these, there's to use contraceptive, like should women in 12 years, 13 years, 14. So how do you see yourself allow women and younger men in Africa to run sexual education openly?
Good question. Thank you. For me, I believe that we can enforce the sexual education on the women and the younger boys also, just to let them know that prevention is better than a cure also, because at the end of the day...
Made in Africa show is sponsored by fashion trend Trends Africa, a fashion news website under www.rcfs.rw, where you can find news of new and established African fashion designers.
Whatever they're gonna go through. Sorry, can you just repeat the question again?
So yes. So I'm trying to say there are people in Africa. You mentioned sexual education in school in Namibia, so that to prevent unplanned pregnancy and some other consequences like HIVs and the other disease. So then I'm saying now we're going to present Namibia in a mixed cultural group, and there are some other countries where they don't agree to teach sexual education in the schools because they feel it is too early. Our culture doesn't allow this to happen. So then I'm asking you, like to you in general, how do you see that? Is it important to do it first of all, and why do you think is it important to do in schools?
Okay, all right, now I get it. It is important to do it in schools while they are still young. I mean, because the earlier they know, the better for the future also. So I believe that it's important to just speak on the sexual education on the young children, just for them to understand what's happening in the society, what dangers are there, what are the cons and the pros, what are the dangers of getting sexually active and at a young age, what are the disadvantages, what can happen to them. So in case they had to fall into something like that, or they are almost led into something like that, they know already that, okay, this is a danger zone for me, this I can't do, I know the consequences of this and that. So I believe that they should enforce sexual education on the younger ones, no matter if they feel like if they're too young. But in this day and age, a lot has been happening. The young people are different. The generation is different from back then, and how things were done. How things were done back then. So we just need to enforce that on them.
We are still on the contestant like a Miss Culture Global. Let's talk about intercultural exchange. You have you have now two different culture experience, South Africa and Namibia. So when you look at yourself interacting with your sister, one of your first international pageant you're gonna attend, how do you see you interacting with the other models? Are you nervous? Do you feel you are open to global intercultural exchange? How do you see yourself out there on that day? Boot camps
Well, yes, I see myself like connecting with them, having a relationship with the other contestants. I feel like it's going to be very interesting because for me, I'm not only just representing Namibia, but because I was born in South Africa and I have like multicultural roots which span through like Democratic Republic of Congo, Angola, and also Nigeria. So I feel like I'm going to like easily connect to the girls, especially like with Miss Mozambique, where I can speak Portuguese, and I saw on her podcast she was speaking Portuguese. So it's going to be so interesting to just connect with all the ladies. Like Miss South Africa, I'll probably be speaking with her in Afrikaans.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Let's talk about sustainability. Now every institution, the global mission is to talk about sustainability. When you look, where let's say you win this competition, and what do you think you will do in terms of sustainability? Some women don't understand sustainability. What do you think role you will play to encourage younger people, women in Namibia particularly, and other parts in Africa about sustainability?
Well, for me, I would like to use this platform actually to advocate on unity and love in Africa. So sustainability also comes within when we are united. If we are united, we are able to assist each other. We are able to look into what we need to do to better our continent, to better our own countries, and
Another two more questions I can see. Don't worry, okay. the time I'm timing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the time.
Yes, so don't worry, I got this. So let's see. Talk about tourism in Namibia. How do you see beauty pageants like you, others who selected? Why the government are not using you guys to promote advertisement, tourism, like put you there in airlines? And why do you think is it important if they put you there to advertise those, to give you those jobs?
Yeah, that's very nice question. Well, I think it's because the government they have the awareness of it, of beauty pageants, but it's not really pushed on them, like, or enforced on them. So I believe that's the only reason why. But which is a good point that you mentioned, because I believe that if we can be in that space of tourism, that would be a great platform as well for us, because as a beauty pageant, we need to be in spaces like that, to attract, in spaces to connect with other people, to network, because in beauty pageant, it's all about also connecting with people. It's all about networking and building relationships. And it's beautiful to see that if you build your relationship with a tourist, it's going to be good, because they'll keep on coming, not only just because they want to come and visit the country, but because you have also welcomed them in these spaces. And so I believe that it will be a good thing for pageant queens to be part of this projects in the country.
Okay, so dear viewers, listeners, closer to line to our studio. So Gracia, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food would be rice and beans. That's a very, very strong cuisine, but that's my favorite. And when I need to snack, I would snack on banana with nuts and raisins, which is a very sweet combination for me.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, and do you do sports? Which is your favorite sport, so the viewers, they know which is the book do you like to read, and who is your favorite international model who inspires you?
My favorite sport is netball. I've been doing netball in primary school, but just now I stopped a little bit. I also love tennis. Well, I'm not a tennis player. I never played tennis, but I just love how it looks, and I would love to join tennis. My favorite book, I'm currently reading Finding Me by Viola Davis, which is a very interesting book. I just started reading it and I love it already. And my role model in beauty pageants is Zozibini Tunzi, the Miss Universe 2019 from South Africa.
Thank you very much. So, Gracia, do you have a message you want to send to African women? If there are women who feel like we can't do this, they're still in that basket of let's not do this. So, what message do you have for African women?
The message I have for African women is be yourself, be authentic. Don't let anyone deprive you from your dream. Go out there. If you feel like you're destined for greatness, actually we are all destined for greatness, so put yourself out there and do the most. You are made to do. You are made to bring an impact into the world, and find your purpose as a woman, and find your voice as a woman, and stand your ground and love yourself.
Miss Gracia, thank you very much. I appreciate you for accepting the invitation in the Made in African podcast, and all of the best in Miss Culture Global. Let's see that crown on your head, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to our episode. See you next time with your host, Celestin Ntawirema.